All right, let's just jump right in. If you're in sales, you've definitely been there. You've got this amazing solution, your technical pitch is flawless, but then you get in front of the CFO and bam! It's like you're speaking two completely different languages. Well, this explainer is all about handing you the Rosetta Stone for that conversation. I mean, it happens to the best of us, right? You're all fired up about features, functionality, and how slick the implementation is, while they're over there laser focused on spreadsheets and the bottom line. But what if I told you that bridging that gap is way easier than you think? It's not about becoming a CPA overnight. Nope. It's just about learning a few key phrases in their language. And this right here is the disconnect in a nutshell. On the left, that's our world. Features, specs, how it all works. But on the right, that's the CFO's universe. Revenue growth, profit margins, cash flow. Look, they're really just two sides of the same coin. And our job, our real job, is to be the one who connects them.
And that's the big secret, really. You don't need to memorize accounting textbooks. Your job is to be the translator, to take all the awesome benefits of your product and directly connect them to the financial levers the CFO is thinking about, well, pretty much 24/7.
So let's get into it. We're going to start with the first part of any great financial pitch, telling the profit story. We're going to look at three key terms that build on each other to really paint a clear picture of profitability.
Think of this as your roadmap to profit. It's a super logical flow. We start at the very top with revenue, then we drill down to see what's left after the direct costs with gross margin, and finally, we look at the core operational profit with EBITDA. So let's start at the top. Okay, first up, revenue. This is the big one, right? The one everyone talks about. It's simply the total amount of money a company brings in from everything it sells before a single cost is taken out. That's why they call it top-line sales, because it's literally the first line on the income statement. So how do you actually use this? Well, you connect your solution directly to that outcome. Instead of just saying you increase production throughput, you finish the sentence. You explain that this increase grows their revenue. See the difference? You're not just selling a machine anymore, you're selling growth. But here's where it gets really powerful. When you can put a number on it, when you can project a specific, tangible revenue increase, say, of $1.2 million, the whole conversation changes. A vague promise is easy to ignore. A quantifiable impact, now that is going to make a CFO sit up and listen.
All right, next stop on our path, gross margin. So you've got all that revenue coming in. Now you have to subtract the direct costs of actually making the stuff you sold. We're talking raw materials, direct factory labor, that kind of thing. What's left over is the gross margin, and it tells you how much money they actually make from their core business. And look, the math here is pretty simple. You take that top-line revenue, you pull out the cost of goods sold, and boom, you have your gross margin. This is the money they have left to pay for everything else. Marketing, salaries, R&D, you name it. And that margin? It's absolutely crucial for a healthy business.
So here's your magic phrase. You're not just selling a feature that reduces scrap. No way. You're selling a solution that lowers their cost of goods sold, which directly improves their gross margin. You're literally making every single thing they sell more profitable.
All right, time for the big one, EBITDA. I know. It sounds super complicated, but stick with me. CFOs love this metric because it strips out all the accounting and financing noise, like interest and taxes, and it just answers one simple question. How is the actual day-to-day business doing? It's a pure measure of operating performance. And a sentence like this? Man, that is a bullseye. You're taking a piece of advanced tech, a digital twin, and connecting it straight to something a CFO feels in their bones, reducing operating costs, which, you guessed it, pumps up that all-important EBITDA number. Okay, so we've talked profit. Now we're going to shift gears and talk about the second language of the CFO, which is all about cash. Because you know the old saying, right? Profit is an opinion, cash is a fact. Let's prove the cash value. And that brings us to something called free cash flow. Just think of it like this. After the company pays all its bills and reinvests what it needs to keep the lights on, this is the pile of cash left over. This is the fun money. The money they can use for new acquisitions, paying down debt, or investing in awesome new projects, like, hey, maybe your solution. Now, this is such a powerful way to frame it. You're not just cutting down time, you are generating more cash, more free cash flow that they can then use to reinvest and grow. You're not just a vendor, you're the one funding their next big move. And again, when you can slap a real number on it,
an increase of $800,000 in free cash flow, it's not just a nice to have anymore. It becomes a strategic weapon you're handing them. This isn't just an efficiency play, it's a capital generating machine.
Which leads us to the ultimate question, the one every single CFO is asking, even if they don't say it out loud. Okay, this is great, but when do I get my money back? The payback period is the straight-up answer to that question. How fast does this investment pay for itself?
Just a simple, confident statement like this is music to a CFO's ears. It shows you thought about their risk and you respect their capital. A short payback period means a fast return, and that makes saying yes a whole lot easier. And you can literally draw it out for them. Here's day one, the investment. Here we are after year one, halfway there. And look, before the end of year two, we've achieved payback. It just makes the whole thing feel real and, totally achievable.
Okay, we've gone through all 5 key terms. We've got the building blocks. Now let's put it all together. This is where the magic happens. This is your new financial pitch.
Look, this isn't just a checklist of buzzwords. This is your story, a complete financial narrative. You start big by showing how you'll grow their business. Then you show how you'll make that business more profitable and more cash efficient. And you bring it home with a clear, fast return on their investment. It's a full-blown business case that just makes sense.
And once you start telling that story, everything changes. You're not just some vendor trying to sell a product anymore. You've become a strategic partner who actually gets their business and can help them hit their financial goals. Suddenly, you're on the same side of the table.
So I want you to think about what you sell right now. You have the 5 terms. You have the blueprint to build a business case that will absolutely land in the C-suite. You've got the vocabulary. So the only question left is, what story are you going to tell?